of 100,000 military personnel following Kebbi schoolgirls' abduction. Police fire Teargas at PDP headquarters as Governor Makinde's faction clashes with Minister Wike's camp. And ADC and NCP form alliance, vow to end APC in 2027. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. The news at 6 begins with a wave of anger and grief sweeping through Amadu village in Takum local government area of Taraba state as residents stormed the street in protest over the killings of 6 locals on Monday night by suspected terrorists. The 6 victims were reportedly killed in the violent incident, sparking widespread outrage and protest in the village. An eyewitness who spoke to reporters today revealed that 5 of the victims were aged between 27 and 35, while the 6th victim was aged between 50 to 65 years. One of the eyewitnesses told journalists that the protest began this morning with residents demanding justice and action from the authorities to address the escalating violence in the area. The incident has heightened tensions in the village, with residents fearing for their safety and security. Meanwhile, the Senate has urged President Bola Tinubu to direct the Nigerian Armed Forces to immediately recruit at least 100,000 additional personnel to strengthen the fight against worsening insecurity across the country. The resolution followed a motion of urgent national importance raised by Senator Abdullahi Yahaya, representing Kebbi North, who reported a recent attack by terrorists on communities in Kebbi's South Senatorial District, who invaded a girls' secondary school, abducting 25 students and severely injuring the school's principal. Describing the incident as a slap on the face of the nation, Yahaya lamented that repeated attacks on schools not only endanger citizens but deter girls from seeking education. He recalled a similar abduction in 2022 from another government school in the state, noting that it took 4 years to rescue the victims. He therefore appealed to President Tinubu to leave no stone unturned in bringing the attackers to justice. In the same vein, in response to the abductions, the Senate has also set up an ad hoc committee, including the Committee on Finance, to investigate the funding, spending and effectiveness of the Safe School Initiative. Lawmakers who expressed outrage over the incident noted that the renewed assault on schools raises questions about whether funds allocated to securing learning environment were being properly utilized. Senate President Godswill Akpabio described the pattern of the abductions as a troubling recurrence, recalling the kidnapping of the Chibok girls on the eve of a major election in 2014. He warned that the latest attacks come at a time when the international community is closely watching Nigeria's security situation. The Senate subsequently observed a minute of silence in honor of the vice principal who was killed while attempting to shield students from the terrorists. In a recent development, violence erupted today at the People's Democratic Party (PDP) national headquarters in Abuja, where policemen fired teargas to disperse protesters as the party's leadership crisis boiled over. Chaos broke out at Wadata Plaza after Governor Seyi Makinde, Governor Bola Mohammed, and the Turaki-led executive arrived at the secretariat. Supporters of Senator Anyawu's faction attempted to block their entry, triggering clashes that drew in security operatives. Governor Makinde condemned the level of disorder and emphasized the need for the party to restore internal stability. Amid the confrontation, the police fired tear gas, forcing party members, officials and journalists to scamper for safety. The FCT Minister Wike also arrived at the secretariat. He, however, refused to step outside but remained inside his vehicle for more than 30 minutes as the unrest continued. VOP News gathered that armed policemen and their operational vans took over strategic positions around the complex early this morning after intelligence warned of possible clashes between the camps loyal to the FCT Minister Wike and those aligned with Governor Seyi Makinde. Trouble started when the faction led by Makinde and Bauchi Governor Bala Mohammed arrived for their scheduled meeting, only to meet another group loyal to Wike attempting to access the same hall for a separate NEC and Board of Trustees session earlier convened by the disputed National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Eyewitnesses sources told journalists that both groups exchanged altercations before police officers began firing tear gas to disperse the growing crowd of loyalists from the two camps. Several party members were seen scampering for safety as the situation degenerated. A faction of the PDP, backed by FCT Minister Wike, had earlier announced that an emergency meeting of the Board of Trustees and National Executive Committee would hold today, Tuesday, November 18, 2025. According to a notice issued on Monday by the factional National Secretary Samuel Anyang and shared by the media aide FCT Minister Lere Olainka on his X handle, both meetings were stated to take place at the Neck Hall of the PDP National Secretariat, Wadata Plaza, Abuja. Meanwhile, the faction loyal to Oyo State Governor Makinde also fixed a separate meeting for the same venue and date, further heightening concerns of a possible confrontation between loyalists of the two blocs. Now let's take a listen to an excerpt of the confrontation that occurred earlier today between the factions loyal to FCT Minister Wike and that of Oyo State Governor Makinde.
Inside the meeting hall to come outside, and they have taken over the meeting environment. That is the new elected chairman, Tanimu Bala.
Why are you chasing people away? Why are you saying that? Why are you chasing people away? When? Yes, when? Identify yourself. You get to know. I welcome you. We are all party members. I welcome you fully. If you don't belong, we are all party members. Baba, if you don't belong,
Meanwhile, the crisis rocking the PDP took another fiery turn earlier today as the factional National Executive Committee, loyal to FCT Minister Wike, ratified the expulsion of Governors Makinde of Oyo State, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, and Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State. The NEC also expelled former Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, former National Vice Chairman of the party, Bode George, and recently elected party National Chairman, Kabiru Turaki, senior advocate of Nigeria. The move comes just days after the controversial PDP National Convention held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, last Saturday, which saw Wike and his loyalists expelled from the party. The development triggered today's heated confrontation between both camps at the party's National Secretariat in Wadata Plaza, Abuja, where the two factions had scheduled parallel NEC and Board of Trustees meetings. The factional NEC, at its meeting held at the National Secretariat in Abuja today, also dissolved the state executive councils in Oyo, Bauchi, Zamfara, Yobe, Lagos, and Ekiti State, directing the constitution of caretaker committees and the conduct of fresh congresses. Now let's take a listen to the time when Governor Makinde and others were expelled from the PDP earlier today.
Today, 18th of November 2025. Let me see the report of the agriculture Mohammed television articles 58, 1, and 9. Evidence to others and conduct during the party condition. Let approve the expulsion of the following: 1. Adolphus Wabara. 2. Honorable George. 3. Berobi. 4. Kabiru Turaki. 5. Bala Mohammed. 6. Makinde. 7. Dauda Lawal. 8. Tafik Abuja. 9. Sekoji Kosodo. 10. Obetuko Daniel. 11. Wike Daniel. 12. Mohammed Kabede Suleiman. 13. Emmanuel Ogiri. 14. Suleiman Adamu Buga. 15. Omar Sani. 16. Udom Emmanuel. 17. Emmanuel Emedo. Those who have been expelled from our party based on anti-party activities, disagreement of court, judgments and order, and causing disaffection of the party. They also approved the ratification of South conferences held in Calabar, and then also ratified the cabinet committee of Bayelsa. Also ratified the position of Honorable as the acting national vice chairman of Southeast. And then let also talk about the solution of the following states, executives, Bauchi, Ebwe, Oyo, that's all.
Now, still on political matters, in a bold move ahead of the 2027 general elections, the National Conscience Party (NCP) and the African Democratic Congress (ADC) have announced an electoral alliance aiming to confront President Bola Tinubu's administration. At a press briefing on Monday, NCP Lagos State Chairman Chief Fatai Ibuowo, flanked by ADC's National Secretary, former Interior Minister Rauf Aregbesola, and other party leaders, warned that Nigeria is sliding into deeper crisis under the APC leadership. They pointed to rampant economic hardship, soaring inflation, and a spike in poverty. According to them, the removal of fuel subsidies have pushed fuel prices to record highs, burdening ordinary Nigerians. Ibuowo described the current situation as a bleeding heart of a nation, calling for urgent change. The coalition also condemned what they saw as a collapse of security, citing widespread kidnappings, banditry in rural areas, and violation of civil liberties. The ADC-NCP coalition argued that the APC government has failed to protect citizens, costing too many lives. Beyond the economics and security, the NCP-ADC alliance accused the APC of undermining democratic institutions and silencing dissenting voices. They therefore urged Nigerians to mobilize, engage in community organizing, and support independent media. Now, joining me to discuss issues on the news at 6 this evening, I have Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday editorial desk, joining via the telephone. How are you doing this evening, sir? Thank you for joining us.
Hello. How are you, Jenna?
I'm very well, Mr. Awa Omiko. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you very much. It was what one could call a show of shame at the PDP secretariat at the Wadata Plaza in Abuja earlier today. I can hear you. Mr. Awa Omiko, can you hear me? Is it better now?
Okay, yeah, it's better.
Beautiful. So there was an altercation between Wike's camp and Governor Seyi Makinde's camp at the Wadata Plaza in Abuja earlier today. The situation degenerated to the point where the police had to fire tear gas to disperse the people who were involved in these fracas. One could ask that one would say rather that a lot of Nigerians have been saying Wike is the problem of the PDP. At the party's convention on Saturday and Sunday, he was expelled, but unfortunately, he is not happy with his expulsion, and he and his team or his faction have indeed had a face-off with the Governor Seyi Makinde faction. I don't know if you've seen those videos of that altercation, to the extent where someone was standing up to Turaki, someone from Wike's side was standing up to Turaki, asking him, identify yourself, who are you, what do you want, what are you doing here? Is this not a show of shame, Mr. Awa Omiko?
It's looking like a pack of cards is beginning to crumble because of his actions, and is gradually beginning to crumble. There's a saying by Ede Kadun, the father of sociology and anthropology, who says the rot of the state lies at its foundation. You see that people have been tolerating UK until recently, that people have now mustered the power, the stamina, the audacity to challenge it. And I will say no thanks to Yorima. But this is to remember that with what has been happening to him of late, if he does not retrace his steps, he will be doing himself a lot of disfavor. For this show of shame, twice concurrently, almost at the same time, Wike should go inwards and look and redefine himself and reposition himself and remember his own personal image, or else he will go nowhere politically. If you look at him, why will a Makinde emerge just not quite long until a Wike that has been there before his emergence, and somebody to have the audacity to ask him what does he want here? It shows that he is a loser. He's no longer his antigens are gone. The the days of his sheer strength for him is gone. And I won't be surprised to see a secondary school student willing to challenge him, because the way he has outplayed his usefulness. Look at what he did in PDP leaders, and by extension PDP generally. Wike single-handedly through his politics, the politics of wanting to take it all, he destroyed that party. And Makinde now they are coming to say, what they are trying to say in effect is that we don't want you here because of what you have done in the past. So that is exactly what they are trying to say. We don't want you here because of your show of shame, because of how you have pulled down great parties. We don't want you here. That's exactly what they are trying to tell him, and that is not too good for him. We look at Makinde imagine. There's an opinion on the ground that says both UK and party are more or less a coin of the same side, because both of them are planning to put down PDP so that APC will have a way. I don't want to come to that idea or school of thought. But the issue remains that if UK does not, if Makinde wants to go far, he must not go with somebody with a Wike, because Wike is a red blanket and a pullback. Thank you.
All right, then, Mr. Awa Omiko, Wike and that's former Rivers State Governor and now FCT Minister. Can you hear me, Mr. Awa Omiko?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yes, Wike and Governor Makinde of Oyo State were part of the G5 governors who opposed the PDP ticket going to the north in 2023. They say that is the reason why they worked against the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Since then, there has been infighting. Does that actually mean that zoning was not the real problem of the PDP in the first place, and that it is more about a fight for power and control of the party, or the ego of some men who believe that they own the party over the others at play?
That idea was just
a flash in it, and it never held waters, and it couldn't have, because if you look at what came out of that crisis, is you can even see it playing out with the season, and now they've allowed you to take your decision. So why if you go back to it, it wasn't a major cause. And besides, why would it have taken over 2, 3, 4 years for that simple issue to be resolved? It is more of the case of power rather than zoning. It was a selfish interest. We wanted it at all costs. He wanted to feel that, yes, I am there and I have to decide. I am a major player and I need a larger share in this booty or in this party. So it wasn't totally a zoning thing. Because if both of them had been working in tandem for the progress of the party and by extension Nigeria, by now they should have been aligned to one. But the alignment is not coming. It still shows that both of them are still bedfellows, and their so-called common grounds of giving power to the south was just a flash in the pan to deceive Nigerians, and you can even see it showing up now, and that is the type of politicians Nigerians are. Thank you.
Mr. Awa Omiko, it's quite unfortunate that we see different cases of our politicians having problems, that it gets physical. Right now, for those watching on YouTube, you can actually see a video of the altercation that played out. You can see some people trying to force their way into the party secretariat. You can see some people trooping out. You can see them pushing themselves. Like, some people could have gotten injured with everything that was happening today. Why did the two factions fix meetings for the same day at the same venue, although it was different times? One faction said 8 a.m., the other faction said 11 a.m. It seems that these two factions are not even ready to broker peace. Wike keeps accusing Governor Seyi Makinde and Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State and those who belong to that faction of betraying the party. He keeps accusing them, saying they are the ones who are running the PDP down. But to many Nigerians, to Governor Seyi Makinde and the people who back him, Wike is the problem of the PDP. Right now, what is the problem of the PDP according to you?
Why would the parties hold different parties? Why would it goes back to alignment and it goes back to party power play? If they had agreed right from the onset, just like Kazim said, the foundation, if they had agreed right from the onset, both of them would have been holding different factions, different parties. And both of them, they knew that venue is going to be put in use. There could have been other alternatives. But the issue of that power, we must process it. It is ours. We must do that. That is exactly what is coming to play. Wike has not learned his lesson. And the Makinde, I will rather use the word, Makinde is rising, is coming up to challenge him. I will rather tell him for free that a Makinde is not alone. That Makinde means a new dispensation that is emerging from the old PDP. Makinde is like a phoenix in that party. And if Wike is not careful enough, the phoenix will consume him. And we should be very, very careful. And this is why party politics, if his advisors should tell him that in politics, you don't just stand and say it must be me, it must be that. There's always room to shift grounds. A man that does not want to adopt change will end up being the change. We end up being carried away by the waste of the change. And I will advise him to take another look at himself and think of what to do to re-strategize and come out with a party. If there is not a that the new party, even APC may get a level, we not accept him. The way he is going and the way he has made himself, the type of thing he has given to himself. So we should see Makinde as a new wave for people that have agreed before to now begin to fight themselves and fight dirty in the public. You know what that means? So let him go back and reconcile themselves. And besides, if Makinde too wants to fight dirty just like Wike, to prove to him that look, if you think that madness runs in your whatever, that he too has doses of such madness. If a Makinde wants to do that, let him know that voters are watching, and let him know that people, historians, and bookmakers are watching him and trying to see what will come out of this public show of shame. That this theater, this drama they're trying to play out. Thank you.
Mr. Awa Omiko, are we going to see a balkanization of the PDP just the way we saw it happen in circa 2013 when we had the NPDP? I mean, with this field, is the PDP risking another major split, just like with the NPDP in 2013? Also, with what we are seeing, can we still say the PDP is a national party, or is just a collection of people who are fighting for power, a collection of warring blocks with people taking sides?
You have said it just rightly. It's a collection of warring parties, and by so doing, they will end up with just trying to bury itself. The PDP is singing a song. You know, in theater, when we say song, it means a bye-bye song, and that is what PDP is singing for itself. And it's quite unfortunate that this is happening at this time, where we need a strong and well-organized opposition. Because a country without, in democracy, a democratic nation without a strong and viable opposition leads you to anarchy. And this is what PDP is trying to make us believe, that they are ready to send Nigeria to anarchy, a state of anarchy. And if they don't come, if they don't come up, they will end up losing the center stage. Already they've lost it. Because I don't see a PDP coming up again. Which they may lost it. But it will be quite unfortunate, and which I equally want. It will be quite unfortunate for the likes of Wike to come out tomorrow to say they made Nigeria what it is, or they contributed to making Nigeria what it is, or they have equally played their part as building Nigeria. No, this is a way of degradation, sending us backwards, and it is not too good for them. So I would want a Makinde and a Wike if they want to save the image of Nigeria for the two factions. Another warring faction that is on the ground, which are yet to come up to unite and fight and stand as a viable opposition. A country without a viable opposition is a country of anarchy. So let's just look at that. And again, if you equally see the smaller parties around, I don't want to mention any political party so that they won't attack them small. But if they too could harness, gather strength from what is happening within PDP, they will need to build themselves and get some of their votes, so that they'll be able to have a balanced political system. But with what I'm seeing, nobody can stand as opposition to APC. And I say good night to PDP. Bye-bye.
You say good night and goodbye to the PDP.
Yes.
The weekend faction of the party has expelled Governor Seyi Makinde, Chief Bode George, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal. They expelled the former chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, the former national vice chairman of the party, that's Chief Bode George, and even the recently elected party national chairman, Kabiru Turaki. They've expelled all of these people. Now, what we are seeing is what we would call in pidgin parlance bass boast. These were the same people who expelled some people in the Wike faction, including Wike himself. So now we are saying you expel me, I expel you. So which of these factions is the real PDP? Which one is the legitimate PDP?
That was why I said good night and bye bye. I use bye bye for the day, good night in the night. You see, PDP is gone. In this country, if care is not taken, at the rate at which they are going, it will get to a level where they will not be able to win even a common local government. I put it to you. If they don't amend their house. You know, was it 2 days ago, before this crisis started, I predicted it, if you can remember, in one of my analysis, that this is exactly what is going to happen to PDP, and that what we need to be expelled. And equally predicting again, if these people they fail to come together, it will get to a level where they will not even be able to win common local government. And if it further gets to a level where they will have no representatives in the house of Rep and the Senate. And this is equally a lesson to our politicians. One thing we fail to understand is that by the time we think we want to show power, show ego, we want to make sure that our policy stands. We want to make sure that the party recognizes us. We do not often know that at the same time we are pulling down ourselves and we are rubbishing our image. Look at what Wike has done. What they just done to Wike is what they ought to have done to him years back when the party went on recess. And now the party is not on recess, but now in a slumber. And if care is not taken, it will take time for the beautiful bride to sleep. It will sleep and forget its relevance. It will sleep and forget its relevance. And this is why Makinde and others rallying around Makinde, if they really want to give PDP a front, they should either stand behind Makinde to move the party forward. Although political analysts and people are saying Makinde will lead PDP to nowhere. And Makinde is nothing but just a sham. And Makinde needs to correct that impression. If truly he is or not. He needs to correct that impression by making sure that what he has professed to be, or what he has professed that it is why he is fighting in PDP, should be made manifest. Thank you.
All right. right. Thank you, Mr. Awamiko. One final question before we move on to another topic because of our time. Is there any, or what is the most realistic path to reconciliation within the PDP at this point? And even if there is a reconciliation, will these men ever trust each other? Will the PDP ever go back to its place of relevance like it was before? This was a party that told Nigerians that they would rule for so many years, but they spent 16 years in the saddle, and unfortunately they've been balkanized. The party has literally been broken down the middle by internal crisis. So what is the most realistic path to reconciliation at this point?
No champion is forever. No champion is forever. 16 years, well, that's almost a decade and a half. Yes, with just a year, no party is forever. They have ruled for 16 years. And if they want peace, which I think, just like people say, the peace of the graveyard, if they want peace, they should go back and reconcile. And I don't think the galligators within PDP stepping down. Is it Wabara? Is it George? Is it UK? I don't see them. Is it Kadiri? So who among them is okay? Let me concede defeat, because they all believe they are representing their own people. They all believe they are representing their constituency. They all believe they are representing a particular group or a particular section of the country. And stepping down will mean continuing the seat, which none of them will want to do. But if they can allow ego, they can throw away their ego, shed their swords, and come together and work. That is when the southern, you can now say, power has really moved to the south. But at this level, I doubt if there could be any reconcilable center, any reconcilable point. Because it's like their centers are very weak. Their centers are very weak. And we have a very sitting government, powerful, influential, has the money and the way without. And it's raising the carrot at stake. In fact, raising the carrot not even the stake, to actually make sure that they are divided and they have met the goodies of the PDP, and it has to take time. In fact, I don't see PDP coming back as what they used to be before. That was
quite unfortunate for the party.
They are singing a swan song, and it remains a bye-bye for them.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Awamiko, let's quickly talk about insecurity, which unfortunately has become our daily reality as Nigerians. The Nigerian Senate is pushing for the recruitment of 100,000 military personnel. This is following the abduction of 25 girls in Kebbi State. It is unfortunate that we are back to 2014 when the abduction of over 200 girls from a school in Chibok, Borno State shook the world, not just Nigeria. Reminds us of Dapchi in Yobe State during the tenure of former late President Muhammadu Buhari. So it seems that we are back to where we are coming from. Some people will say that we are progressing backwards as a nation. 100,000 military personnel. First up, which Nigerian, seeing what is happening with the Nigerian military, with the unfortunate and tragic murder of a brigadier general by ISWAP terrorists, the news that just broke yesterday, which Nigerian will want to join the military right now? And is recruiting 100,000 military personnel the answer to our insecurity issues?
You see, I don't believe that, because if you look at all of them from even up to the level of lieutenant colonel, our security aspects have been created, infiltrated, they have been infiltrated by Boko Haram and by people that don't see that, by the supporters of this insecurity. Now let us go back to our roots. All this time we are saying, talking about insecurity. What happens to Gumi? Have we at any time brought Gumi to book? What happens to every that that came out in public and said Buhari did this, that? What happens to this Buhari? Is he untouchable? You can see in some countries, and when a president leaves, and they could recall that president and try him for for taking people's lives? Why have the Buhari up to date has not been brought to book to say he imported these people to do this, to do this? Why have he not been arrested? He knows the network, and those people he infiltrated into the Nigerian army to cause this mayhem. So if you like, even go outside and import people and recruit people to Nigerian army. If the needful is not done, there will never be a headway. Because it is the same people within the system that go back to tell those of them outside that this is the plan we are having. Until we become hardened, until we pronounce death sentence, which is what I call it. Because an act of insecurity is an act of sabotage. No country all over the world, including China, including Japan, toys with human life. Look at a brigadier was just killed like an ant. Do you know the number of years, the training, the resources the country has put into that? And now a nobody will just come and claim his life. That is the type of nation we are trying to build. We are killing our youth in the name of nationhood, and that which is very, very bad. All those of them in that military, let them all go off, send them off, and recruit a brand new military. Because these same people here, the same military we are having, are the same military supporting these insurgents. If you look at the weapons they've been using, military weapons, how did they get them? Simply because some of them are there selling it out. All the sabotage should not be forgiven. Let them be killed. Take a life. And for life, this is a state, a nation. Even in the so-called US, they still believe in death sentence. Let them be killed. No need of saying we are pardoning them. Amnesty, giving amnesty to Boko Haram. Do you know what it is? A whole school, you kidnap them, you kidnap the girls. Do you know the trauma? Do you know the level of insecurity in the country? Do you know the economic backwardness it has pushed Nigeria into? And do you know the politics do you know the image of the country outside and within? This is a great sabotage, and we shouldn't allow to go. I think we shouldn't allow time to talk about this. Choba. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Awa Omiko, for joining me on the news at 6 this evening. It's always a pleasure whenever we get to have this conversation. I do appreciate you and hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have been listening to the news at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that the protest has erupted in Taraba State over a gruesome killing of 6 residents by terrorists. Senate pushes for recruitment of 100,000 military personnel amid Kebbi schoolgirls' abduction. Police fired Teargas at PDP headquarters as Governor Makinde's faction clashes with Minister Wike's camp, and ADC NCP form alliance vow to end APC's rule in 2027. And that is a wrap on the news at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM for coverage of your live event and brand news mentions on our news bulletins. To send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good evening and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. The evening rush comes up shortly. We'll be having a conversation with Martin Onovo, a former presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party, as we speak on the ADC NCP alliance to oust the APC in 2027. Stay tuned.